So we're at Dornoland in Italy for the 2018 shootout. We've got 17 bikes, Kawasaki, Suzuki, Honda, Yamaha, Husky and KTM. We've got 125s, 250Fs, 450s. We've already tested all of these bikes. It's about making a comparison between the bikes. What's good, what works well. We've done noise testing, we know the weight of the bikes. The bikes have also been dyno tested, the mappings have been tested. We want to know which is the best 125, what's the best 250F, what's the best 450. And the track here at Dornoland is one of the best places to do it. It's got sandy conditions with lots of jumps, it gets rough, right? There's going to be a lot of riders, so the track should develop well. It's going to be mega. We're going to be testing out the 2018 450 range. Pretty keen to be testing this range. Obviously the two standout bikes of this year are the Suzuki and the Yamaha. They're the ones that have really modified their bike or come out of a new generation of a bike. And it'd be interesting to test them back to back against the Husky, the KTM and the Honda. Class, my favourite was the Yamaha 450, and the reason being is Yamaha made some new adjustments this year. They got a new chassis, it's a little bit slimmer, it feels a lot slimmer out on track. The radiators are all moved in a different position. Suspension's different. You've got to get the sag set right though. Once you get the sag set right, then the bike's really planted and feels really good out on track. The power delivery is much smoother this year and it's more progressive. And when I say more progressive, you know, you can really feel it just pull through the range nicely. And out on track, you know, just to move the bike around and to place it where you like it, and it's good fun. You know, the bike feels, you know, over the jumps, it feels good fun. It feels real flickable, and you can move it around quite a lot. It's just one of those. It's just one of those bikes where you get on and that you just generally gel with, I feel. And the Yamaha seem to have just, you know, polished out that little bit of aggressive hit that they've had or been known for in previous years. Again, the bike's easy to work on. You know. It just seems like you're just going to be pulling the bike out the back of the van, setting up the suspension, you know, i.e. the rear shock, and off you go. And you're going to be more than happy with what the bike can do for you out on track. That's for sure. Yamaha have come with an electric start, and they've got a Wi-Fi.com. So basically, you can download an app and you can adjust the fuel settings and the timing of the bike by your phone. Pull these maps off the internet, and then you can put them into the bike and see what works for you, which is brilliant. Because I, for one, was a little bit sick of was it Power Tuner or the Game Boy, whatever it was, to put the maps in was a little bit dated. I know that the Yamaha is one of the heaviest bikes, but it doesn't feel one of the heaviest bikes out on track. And that, again, that must be down to the new frame. We hear this word a lot, mass centralisation, but it doesn't feel heavy out on track. Maybe a little bit when you pick it up, but for me, you know, it's about track feel, and this is what I had the most fun on. My second favourite in the 450 class would be the Husqvarna for me, and close is the KTM, Husky and KTM. And the reason why the Husky just edges it for me is because it's got a 5-speed gearbox, whereas the KTM's got a 4-speed. And for me, the 5-speed just offers that, it just makes the engine just deliver the power to the ground a little bit different. And I personally like that. You know, it just seems to drive it at the turns a little bit more, whereas the KTM just seems to be a little bit more. Just a little bit more snappy, or a little bit more, a little bit more responsive from the turn. So yeah, so for me, I'd say the Husky 450 would just edge over the KTM, but they're very close, very close. Both of these bikes are the lightest bikes out there as well, and they've both got electric starts. And once again, you know, I personally like the air forks, and I like the way that they feel, and the suspension feels really good on the bikes. I didn't have to adjust or change anything. It's a bike that you would definitely go and buy if you was a serious racer, because the bikes are so competitive straight from the crate. There's no way that you're going to be overriding one of them bikes, that's for certain. Not far behind would be the Honda. Honda basically come with a game changer in 2017, and they've refined the 2018. They've made the suspension a little bit stiffer, they've changed the mapping a little bit so the power's a little bit smoother and it delivers it better to the ground. You do feel that out on track and make good use of the extra torque, or how it drives, it feels like it's just got more torque. They changed the engine brackets for 2018 just to give it that little bit more flex in the frame, and you can build a difference in that. That bike's a win-win, and it's always very popular with the club racers. And I believe in, you know, if you purchase that bike, then you're not going to be disappointed with it, that's for sure. Because it's got all the trademarks of Honda of old. You know, the build quality is good, it turns good, it handles good, the power's good. You know, it ticks all the boxes, but KTM and the Husky just seem to have that little extra. Fifth for me would be the Kawasaki. The Kawasaki surprised me, and I really enjoyed riding that bike as well. I rode it right at the end of the day when the track was at its roughest, and it handled really well, and the power was good, but it just felt a little bit dated when I was on it. I don't know why. Standout bits for me on the Kawasaki 450 was the power and the power delivery. The bike's got some serious torque, and it does clock up some serious speed out on track, and it's very easy to do so. One of the things that I liked about the bike was it had that old school feel, which I quite liked. It certainly did make pulling through some of them softer sections really easy, and as a matter of fact, you didn't even notice them. The issue that I had with the Kawasaki 450, when I say it just felt a little bit dated, I think it was just because I was thinking about my line choice a little bit more and just thinking about setup of the track, whereas on the Kawasaki, you know, I felt like I was just setting things up just that little bit more. I so wanted this bike to be good. We've been waiting a long time for Suzuki to make some big changes, you know, with their 450. Previously, I've always liked the Suzuki, and every test rider always jumps on the bike and it always surprises them, because it's always like one of those bikes that's kind of left at the sideline and then they ride and they really love. Unfortunately, that isn't the case with the new Suzuki. It just needs setting up more than the other bikes, which is a shame. Most of the people were struggling with the front end. They felt that they couldn't turn it, just felt a little bit stiff and a little bit rigid, and that was the same for me. The issue that we had is, like, I've tested the Suzuki previously, and I know that once you get the bike set up and dialed, that it's actually a completely different bike. But when you're just jumping on bikes and going from back to back, then the Suzuki is highlighted as having some little issues, which is a shame really, because you'd really like that bike to come straight out the crate and just tick the boxes like it has done in previous years, even though it hasn't had any work done on previous years. Yes, it's got a new design and a new look, but you know, you need to get that bike set up for you to get the most from it. The bike does turn, and it is better than the previous bike when it's set up, but, and that's the problem, there's a but. The engine hasn't really moved on that much. One of the things that always sticks in my mind is when I was speaking to Kevin Strybos, he felt that the old engine didn't really need to be revised. You know, he liked the characteristics of that engine and he liked the way that it delivered the power. Now the new Suzuki, the 2018, it's just got a few different characteristics, and the power comes in a little bit different, probably with a little bit more of a hit. It's not so much of his linear curve, and it just needs adjusting those things. And it's all about the chassis and the suspension, which is cool, but the new shock design, it needs some work. That's the reason why Suzuki come last for me, was because its full potential wasn't shown out on track, and if you pull it out the back of the van, you're not going to get the full potential from that bike until you set it up. The 350s, there's no point trying to split the Husqvarna and the KTM up again, because they are pretty much the same. The gearboxes are the same. We've touched on the airbox more than enough now. You're probably sick of listening to it. They're always fun to ride out on track. You know, people have said for many years, and I've banged on about this, you know, they're not a fast 250 anymore. They're a 350, and they should be competing with 450s. The thing about those bikes is they're an all-rounder. So, you know, so if you get onto a 450 and it scares you a little bit, or you feel it's a little bit heavier, but you want something faster, then that's a 350. If you can ride a 350 fast, then you're more than competitive in a 450 field, especially in the UK with the tracks that we ride, because they're not all GP circuits. There is no bad bikes out there anymore, and they're all pretty much on price point as well. You know, they're all competitive. They've all been changing, and in the 450 class, you've got to be something special if you're overriding the 450. Just for it to be easy and just to be simple, yeah, to have fun out on track and to enjoy it, then that's why the Yamaha's the winner for me this year.